There is an invisible structure behind how women feel, respond, attach, and withdraw. Most men never see it, not because it is hidden, but because they are looking in the wrong place. They look at words, they look at behavior, they look at reactions, but they miss the emotional blueprint underneath it all. This blueprint is not about logic, it is not about rules, and it is not about control. It is about how the female mind organizes emotion, safety, connection, and desire beneath awareness. Once you understand this, women stop feeling unpredictable, not because they become simple, but because their emotional patterns start to make sense. The first thing to understand is this: women do not experience the world in isolated moments. They experience it as emotional continuity. What happens now is shaped by what happened before. What is said today is filtered through how it felt yesterday. What is felt in the present is influenced by emotional memory. This means attraction, comfort, and distance are never random. They are responses to emotional patterns, not single actions. This is why trying to fix moments never works. You cannot repair emotional experience with logic. You can only change the emotional environment. At the core of the emotional blueprint is one central question, often unspoken. Is it safe for me to feel freely here? This does not mean physical safety. It means emotional safety. Safety to express without being judged. Safety to pull back without being chased. Safety to open without being overwhelmed. When this safety exists, connection deepens naturally. When it disappears, distance appears just as naturally. Another core element of the emotional blueprint is regulation. Women are highly sensitive to emotional stability. Not perfection, not control, stability. This is why emotional inconsistency creates confusion and anxiety. A man who is warm one moment and reactive the next creates emotional uncertainty. A man who is calm regardless of circumstances creates emotional grounding. Grounding allows her to relax. Relaxation allows connection. Connection allows desire. This is not conscious, it is instinctive. Another part of the blueprint is emotional resonance. Women are not drawn to men who match them emotionally. They're drawn to men who can hold emotional space. Matching emotions creates sameness. Holding space creates polarity. If she is expressive, she wants space for expression. If she's quiet, she wants space for silence. She does not want to be mirrored emotionally. She wants to be met without being absorbed. This is a crucial distinction. Many men try to connect by matching energy, but matching energy often removes attraction. Holding steady while allowing expression creates emotional contrast, and contrast is attractive. Another foundational element is emotional pacing. The female mind opens in layers, not all at once, not on demand. When pacing is respected, curiosity grows. When pacing is rushed, resistance appears. This is why pressure collapses attraction. Pressure forces emotion forward faster than it wants to move, and when emotion is pushed, it withdraws. Patience, when genuine, allows emotion to unfold naturally. Another piece of the blueprint is meaning. Women seek meaning emotionally, not verbally. They want interactions to feel significant without being heavy, connected without being forced. Meaning is created when nothing is being extracted. The moment a woman feels she is expected to feel something, meaning disappears. Desire cannot exist under obligation. Another subtle but powerful element is emotional autonomy. Women want to feel that their emotions belong to them. When a man tries to manage, correct, or interpret her feelings, autonomy is lost. When autonomy is lost, connection weakens. Being emotionally present doesn't mean guiding her emotions. It means allowing them to exist without interference. This creates trust. Trust is the foundation of attachment. Another overlooked aspect of the emotional blueprint is containment. Containment does not mean suppression, it means capacity. A woman wants to feel that her emotions can exist in the space without overwhelming it, that if she feels deeply, the man in front of her does not collapse, panic, or overreact. This creates emotional freedom, and emotional freedom is where desire feels safe. All of this leads to a powerful realization. Women are not responding to what you do, they are responding to the emotional environment you create. That environment is built through calmness, through consistency, through emotional maturity. When these elements are present, attraction does not need to be chased. It unfolds naturally. The emotional blueprint is not something you manipulate, it is something you respect. And when you respect it, everything becomes clearer. When you step back and look at this emotional blueprint as a whole, one thing becomes very clear. The female mind is not chaotic, it is responsive. It responds to emotional patterns, not isolated gestures. It responds to consistency of presence, not intensity of effort. And it responds most strongly to how a man manages himself internally. This is why so many men feel confused when they try to do everything right and still fail to connect. They focus on behavior, while women respond to atmosphere. The emotional blueprint is less about what happens and more about how it feels to be there. Another core element of this blueprint is emotional predictability. Predictability does not mean boring. It means stable. A woman wants to feel that your emotional state does not swing wildly based on her mood, her responses, or her availability. When a man becomes anxious when she pulls back, or overly excited when she leans in, it creates emotional instability. Instability makes the female mind cautious. But when a man remains emotionally consistent regardless of circumstances, it creates trust. Trust allows openness. Openness allows attachment. This is also why reactivity is so damaging. Reacting emotionally to small shifts forces her to manage the emotional field. And the moment she has to manage, attraction weakens. Another essential part of the blueprint is depth without intrusion. Women want to feel emotionally understood, but not emotionally invaded. There's a fine line here. Asking, listening, and noticing creates connection. Prying, analyzing, and pushing creates distance. The female mind opens when it feels invited, not when it feels examined. Invitation feels soft. Examination feels sharp. This is why subtlety matters. A calm observation can create more intimacy than 10 questions. Another aspect is emotional timing. The female emotional system does not move in straight lines. It expands, contracts, explores, and pauses. When a man respects this rhythm, attraction stabilizes. When he tries to accelerate it, attraction destabilizes. This is why patience is not passive. It is active trust in the process. Another deeply rooted element of the emotional blueprint is polarity. Polarity is created when one person is emotionally grounded and the other feels free to move. When both people are emotionally reactive, polarity collapses. When one person is grounded, polarity emerges naturally. Groundedness creates contrast. Contrast creates attraction. This is not about dominance, it is about emotional anchoring. A woman is drawn to a man who feels like an anchor, not a mirror. Another important piece is emotional permission. Women want to feel that their emotions are allowed without consequence, that they can feel desire without being pressured to act on it, that they can feel uncertainty without being corrected, that they can feel closeness without being trapped. This permission creates psychological safety, and safety is the condition under which desire becomes sustainable. Another overlooked part of the blueprint is memory. Women store emotional experiences more than factual ones. What lingers is not what you said, but how it felt to be around you. Did the space feel calm? Did it feel heavy? Did it feel open or constricting? This emotional memory shapes future attraction far more than logic ever could. This is why emotional maturity matters more than charm. Charm can create interest, maturity creates continuity. And continuity is what turns attraction into attachment. When you understand the emotional blueprint, you stop trying to control outcomes. You stop trying to force moments. Instead, you focus on becoming emotionally coherent. Your words align with your tone, your actions align with your inner state. Your presence feels stable. And when that alignment exists, the female mind relaxes. Relaxation is not disinterest, it is readiness. All of this brings us to the most important insight. The emotional blueprint of women is not something to decode in order to gain leverage. It is something to understand in order to create harmony. When you align with it, connection stops feeling like work. It becomes natural. And if you want to understand this emotional blueprint even more deeply, especially how it connects to unspoken desire and the inner psychological needs women rarely verbalize, there is one video you should watch next. That video is called Feminine Psychology, What Women Want But Never Say. It expands on everything discussed here and explains why emotional safety, depth, and presence are far more powerful than effort, tactics, or performance. Watch that next, because when you understand the emotional blueprint and the unspoken desires beneath it, the female mind no longer feels confusing. It feels understandable.